Greetings, everyone. The Black Sea battlefield is undergoing a brutal and spectacular geopolitical turning point. For many months, the world has focused all its attention on a single question: when will Ukraine attack the Kerch bridge again? However, the real answer from the battlefield lies in a much more dangerous scenario. And today's video will clarify that with the following main points. Gydomir is being strangled. The super bridge is now just a useless concrete block. The world anxiously awaits a massive explosion at President Putin's $3.7 billion symbol. But the harsh reality is that Kyiv has chosen a more dangerous move, quietly cutting off all the surrounding arteries to turn this peninsula into a dead island. Historic shift. Ukraine's AI unmanned vehicle just downed a Russian superfighter jet. The suicide boat teams Maguza and Sibibi have evolved into a family of AI-integrated weapons, directly shooting down the Su-30SM superfighter jet right over the Black Sea. These technological assassins can hide under the ocean floor, operate automatically, and destroy targets even through heavy electronic jamming. Red alert: Russia's vital supply corridor has officially been broken. Even though the Kremlin has exhausted its defense resources, erected 30-meter steel towers, and brought back rare electronic warfare systems from the Syrian desert to defend, the Novorossiya supply routes have turned into a fiery graveyard, with military vehicle traffic dropping by up to 71%. Welcome to the analysis program of military discussion. Before we start, please like the video and subscribe to the channel so we can keep going. Thank you very much. Ukraine has turned Crimea into a dead island, the Black Sea is ablaze, and the air defense shield is showing serious cracks. Ladies and gentlemen, on the Black Sea's blazing geopolitical chessboard, Ukraine's drones are now directly hunting strategic targets, the enemy's vital bridges. For many months, the world has focused its attention on a single symbolic structure, which is the Kerch Bridge. Any discussion about the fate of the Crimean Peninsula always revolves around one single question: when will Ukraine attack the Kerch Bridge again? But the general staff in Kyiv has chosen a more daring move. Rather than attack the stronghold, they quietly cut off its vast supply network. For weeks, a systematic destruction campaign has been carried out to eliminate the vital access routes in northern Crimea. In a short period of time, dozens of fierce UAV attacks rained down on a series of strategic road and rail bridges. The lifelines near the border city of Armyansk were shaken, the crossings over the strait and railway stations suffered heavy losses, and the entire Henikesk area also was targeted by precision weapons. The Kremlin reacted in haste, and the military quickly set up pontoon bridges, makeshift crossings, and temporary dirt roads to maintain the flow of equipment. But these were merely desperate efforts in the face of an approaching storm. This should have been a resounding wake-up call for the military command headquarters. Russian defense forces might be able to help repair a damaged bridge, build more pontoon bridges, or open more dirt roads, but they have no way to turn every structure on the peninsula into an impregnable fortress. Ukraine proved this harsh reality with a lightning strike that destroyed the strategic railway bridge over the North Crimean Canal in a daring drone attack operation. The severing of the northern supply line means that the entire Russian military system is increasingly forced to rely heavily on a single choke point: the massive Kerch Bridge. This vital dependence has inadvertently turned this symbolic structure into a bigger target than ever before. And the ultimate target of this entire dramatic scenario is the superstructure that everyone knows by name, but no one can predict exactly when its fate will be decided. President Putin's proud $3.7 billion project has resiliently withstood 3 massive assaults, but each time it recovers, it becomes more battered and strained. In the early days of the confrontation, the first storm erupted when the Ukrainian Security Agency, SBU, detonated a truck bomb, collapsing 3 road spans and turning a fuel train on the railway into a giant torch. It took almost half a year and a lot of effort to repair the damage, and heavy trucks were permanently banned from crossing the bridge, forced to take a risky ferry route and never return. After that, the method of combat changed in a surprising way. Unmanned Sibibi boats sped across the water, continuing to tear apart another section of the road. The peak of tactical creativity occurred when the special forces decided to infiltrate from the depths of the ocean. Using unmanned Marika diving equipment carrying a massive amount of explosives, up to 1,100 kilograms, They struck directly at the foundation legs of the solid underwater supports. Ukraine's continuous airstrikes systematically stripped away the protective shell around the Kerch Strait. The radars of the advanced long-range S-400 air defense system and the Pantsir complexes were successively neutralized, while oil depots, local thermal power plants, and fuel storage facilities at the ports were engulfed in smoke and flames. These targets were not chosen at random. They are key parts of the defensive shield and logistical support system vital for the bridge's survival. A strategic diagram revealed by military doctors close to the Russian Ministry of Defense, titled Crimea Bridge, the ultimate target of the blockade order, fully summarizes Kiev's operational intentions. First is suppressing the air defense system, followed by destroying logistical choke points, crippling energy infrastructure, and finally completely isolating the bridge itself. The first three steps are almost complete. The Russian General Staff understands the risks and is working to make the area around the Kerch Bridge one of the most heavily defended and contested zones in modern warfare history. Recently updated satellite images have revealed this suffocating defensive network in high resolution. On both sides of the bridge, rows of barges made from deliberately sunk ship hulls have been deployed, forming tightly connected lines, connected to each other by floating pontoons to mechanically prevent unmanned boats from approaching the bridge structure. Under the bridge beams, huge metal nets are suspended to deflect and absorb the kinetic energy of wave-riding attack devices before they can reach the main support pillars. Hundreds of structures containing secret obstacles are buried deep under the ocean, turning the local maps and hydrography into a tightly guarded state secret that only Russian military pilot vessels can identify to guide navigation. At both ends of Tuzla Island, towering steel towers up to 30 meters high have been erected, topped with advanced Pantsir-M air defense systems, ready to sweep away any aerial threats. This greater height greatly increases the radar system's surveillance radius and detection range. In addition, a target ship from Project 436B has also been deployed to deceive enemy radar-guided missiles, while fighter squadrons continuously patrol the airspace around the iconic Kerch Bridge without rest. In theory, this grand defense system appears as solid as an impregnable fortress, but in the harsh reality of war, fatal cracks have appeared everywhere. The fierce storms of the Black Sea have repeatedly torn apart the barriers and sturdy barges, sending plastic barrels and defensive debris drifting aimlessly onto the shores of Kerch. Even more frightening, this very defensive line has now become the target of enemy pursuit. In April 2026, Ukrainian unmanned boats launched a direct attack, sinking the patrol ships Lupsmail and Grechenok while they were on outer perimeter defense duty. Over the past weeks, the dangerous combination of Ukrainian drones and cruise missiles has completely neutralized the radar stations of the advanced S-400 system, as well as the Panzer air defense positions. The massive Kerch Bridge has basically been stripped of its ability to transport heavy military equipment. At the same time, the loss of the bridge and the need to exhaust air defense resources to protect it have unintentionally left other fronts completely exposed and unprotected. The reason this could create a turning point that changes the situation is because Ukraine's fleet of unmanned boats has now evolved significantly, no longer just the improvised fishing boats from early 2022. In February 2024, the Maguza 55S made history by ambushing and sinking the Russian Tarzan Tazantun III-class escort ship Ivanovesk, marking the first time in the world that an unmanned boat destroyed an enemy warship in action. The evolution didn't stop there. That same year, the Maguza Va-6 version equipped with R-73 air-to-air missiles shot down a Russian Mi-8 helicopter over the Black Sea, marking the first time an unmanned surface vehicle destroying an aerial target. In May 2025, the Maguza Vis-7 series officially entered the theater of war, carrying two short-range AIM-9 Sidewinder air-to-air missiles made by the U.S., and immediately caused a sensation by shooting down two highly maneuverable Su-30 SM fighter jets of the Russian Air Force. The unprecedented event of an unmanned boat being able to shoot down the proud symbols of modern air forces stunned the global military community, leading the American defense company Z to sign a licensing agreement to produce the Maguza V-7 series, with full technology rights remaining with Ukraine. The arms upgrade race continues. The Z-Baby suicide boats can now carry massive warheads weighing up to 850 kg equipped with 12.7mm machine guns and rocket launchers. The thermobaric rocket ZP-VV-16 has a range of up to 1,000 kilometers. Even more impressive, the drone mothership version can simultaneously launch 4 FPV attack drones directly from the sea to strike deep into land targets. Deep beneath the ocean, the unmanned submersibles Tulika and Marika are opening up a terrifying new front underwater. Capable of slipping through floating barrier systems on the surface, these invisible assassins operate like loitering torpedoes, hiding themselves underwater before automatically rushing in to detonate their targets. Experts believe that Marika was the weapon that broke the left main pillar of the bridge during the massive assault in 2025. Behind the coordination of this entire sophisticated combat network is the Unmanned Maritime Vehicle Brigade. 385 was established in August 2023, becoming the first unmanned surface vessel unit in the world to integrate the Magusa, Z-Baby, and underwater submersible devices under a single supreme command. As the revolution at sea chokes off Russia's maritime routes, a brutal joint operation on land is also pushing Crimea's defensive positions into an irreversible collapse. Ukraine's medium-range airstrike campaign is systematically cutting off Russia's land corridor, the vital supply line stretching from Rostov through the port cities of Mariupol, Berdyansk, and Melitopol straight into Crimea. The Kremlin proudly calls this route the Novorossiya line, but military convoy crews have a chilling name for it, the Road of Death. And the battlefield reality is proving that name accurate. The commander of the Ukrainian Unmanned Systems Brigade, Robert Robdy, stated that the volume of Russian military equipment transported on this route has dropped sharply by 71%. He also affirmed that they will achieve full fire control over this route within a month. Marking a symbolic return 2 years after the fall of the Azovstal plant, the Azov National Guard Brigade has used swarms of drones to regain control of the skies around the Mariupol area. The nightmare along the deadly road continues to escalate, as in just the past month alone, at least 17 fuel trucks and heavy military trucks have been burned to scrap heaps between Melitopol and Crimea, forcing the controlling forces to impose a total ban on civilian vehicles. Immediately after that, the bridge crossing the Erupts spit at Henichesk was also completely destroyed, following a sophisticated guided missile attack. By the following night, 4 key strategic bridges located in the Amias and Arikov corridor were continuously bombarded by relentless waves of attacks. According to strategic assessments from the Institute for the Study of War, the Ukrainian army has successfully temporarily neutralized all transportation routes and roads connecting the occupied Kherson region with the Crimean Peninsula. About 50 Russian military vehicles were destroyed during these combat operations. The Crimean Peninsula is the decisive focal point for the outcome of this entire war. Military history has proven an unchanging geopolitical truth. Whoever controls Crimea holds the ultimate power to determine the fate of the entire Black Sea region. Understanding this better than anyone, their action plan was drawn up coldly and consistently in 2 key steps. First, to completely isolate the peninsula through attritional strikes, and then to turn it into a dead zone, uninhabitable for Russian forces stationed there. According to data from just the first half of 26 waves of Ukrainian drones have struck more than 800,000 confirmed Russian military targets. In May alone, which was recorded as the most effective month since the beginning of the year, as many as 181,000 enemy targets were eliminated, and more than 31,500 Russian soldiers were either taken out of action or wounded. The most astonishing figure is that over 90% of the enemy's current targets have been destroyed by unmanned aerial vehicles. Drones are no longer just a supporting tool or an auxiliary weapon on the battlefield. They have officially risen to become the main combat weapon, completely changing the face of modern warfare. This intense bombardment has pushed Russian military casualties to the highest levels in the history of the conflict. Throughout the first weeks of June, the battlefield recorded an average daily Russian casualty rate exceeding 1,000 soldiers, a continuous string of losses lasting 3 weeks straight, something not seen since the previous spring. Based on close military intelligence sources, this attrition pressure has dealt a heavy blow to the Kremlin's defense capabilities. When Russian forces suffered losses in equipment worth up to $331 million in just a single day, a large number of tanks, armored vehicles, artillery systems, air defense units, and countless strategic transport vehicles were destroyed. it can be affirmed that Ukraine's drone warfare is not just a matter of pure technology, but it is a pinnacle achievement of the systems engineering field. These negative impacts are accumulating at a staggering rate. If Ukraine destroys 3 new bridges and Russia only repairs 1 old bridge, the attrition balance now favors the attacker. In summary, Ukraine is proving this equation night after night. For many months, the whole world has been watching the bridge, waiting for a thunderous collapse. But when they're not chasing sensational headlines, they're searching for bridges. They destroy canal bridges, cut off land corridors, burn fuel lines, break radar stations, and sink patrol boats offshore. Destroying the physical bridge itself may no longer be necessary. Every lifeline, every artery leading to its heart has already been ruthlessly severed. So, in your opinion, should Ukraine focus its efforts on attacking the bridge to end the war in Crimea?